Dear students, today we'll discuss numerical problems based upon Coulomb's law. So there are four numerical problems. What I will suggest you, first of all, write down these questions. Clear? So now we can begin these numerical problems one by one. I hope you have written these questions. See, first question: a particle of mass m and charge and carrying charge minus q1 is moving around a charge plus q2 along a circular path of radius r. Prove that time period of revolution is given by t is equals to under root 16 pi cube epsilon naught mr cube upon q1 q2. So according to the question, a charge minus q1 is moving around charge plus q2. Charge minus q1 is moving around charge plus q2 on a circular path, and the radius of circular path is r. Clear? Now the force, electrostatic force acting between them will act just like centripetal force. So what we can write down, Fc is equals to F electrostatic. Fc is centripetal force. Centripetal force is equals to electrostatic force. Clear? Now we know that centripetal force acting between these two charges is equal to mv square upon r, and the magnitude of electrostatic force acting between these two charges is equals to k q1 q2 upon r square. But we know that we want to prove the relation, and in the relation we need epsilon naught. So instead of k, we will put 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. Clear? Now this r will become cancelled with r square. 1 r will remain. V square is equals to q1 q2 upon 4 pi epsilon naught mr. So now V is equals to q1 q2 upon 4 pi epsilon naught m r under the root. Now we want to find out the expression of time period. We know that t is equals to 2 pi r upon v. So from equation 1 and 2, what we can write down? From equation 1 and 2, we can put the value of v. T is equals to 2 pi r upon v. So it becomes reciprocal q1 q2 under the root 4 pi epsilon mr. Now if we transfer this 2 pi inside the under root, it becomes 4 pi square, and this 4, it becomes 16 pi square, and this pi 16 pi cube m r. If we transfer within the square root, r square and r, it becomes r cube, and epsilon naught is already within the square root divided by q1 q2 under the root. Hence proved. This is what about the first question. Are we getting? Now we will discuss second question. according to the second question, two charged spheres having the charges 6.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 7 coulomb are separated by a distance of 50 centimeter. Find the force of electrostatic repulsion. This question is subdivided. So the second numerical problem is two insulated copper spheres A and B separated 50 centimeter apart having the charges 6.5 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb. Find the force of electrostatic repulsion in between them. This is the first part of the question. Two insulated copper spheres having the charges 6.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 7 coulomb separated 50 centimeter apart. 6.5 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb. This is Q1 and this is Q2. Find the force of electrostatic repulsion. So we know that according to Coulomb's law, F is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. We'll put the values, but before putting the values, you should know that the distance between the charges is provided in centimeter. We will convert it in meter. It is 0.5 meter. Agree? Now the value of K, 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. So now if you put these values, F is equals to K 9 into 10 raised to the power 9, Q1 6.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 7, 6.5 into 10 to the power minus 7 divided by R square, 0.5 into 0.5. You can do calculation yourself. You will get the answer 1.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 Newton. Just check yourself whether you are getting this answer or not. Clear? Now we will see second part of the question. This is question number 2. Second part. What is the force of repulsion if each sphere is charged double the amount and distance between them becomes half? So, same, both the spheres charged by double amount. That means Q1 becomes 2Q1, Q2 becomes 2Q2, and R dash, new distance between them, becomes R by 2. Distance between them becomes half. This is Q1 dash, this is Q2 dash. Now again we will use the formula F new force is equals to K Q1 dash Q2 dash divided by R dash square. Put the values. F new is equal to K, as usual, Q1 dash you can put 2Q1, Q2 dash you can put 2Q2 divided by R dash. R dash is equals to R by 2. So R by 2 square, it becomes 4 K Q1 Q2 upon R square, and V transfer 2 to numerator, 2 square 4, 4 into 4. So F new is 16 K Q1 Q2 upon R square. Now K Q1 Q2 upon R square is initial force. We can write down F new is equals to 16 into K Q1 Q2 upon R square is initial force F, 16F. If it is asked you in examination directly that how many times the force becomes, you can write down it directly 16 times. If charges becomes doubled and distance between the charges becomes half, then new force becomes 16 times the initial force. So put the value of F, 16 into F is equals to 1.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 2. If you calculate it comes 24 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 Newton. Clear? So this is second part of the question. Now we will discuss third part of the question. According to the third part, what happens to the force if both the spheres are placed in water? So see the situation of the third part. If the charges are placed in water, first of all you will calculate, like medium is water and these charges are placed in water, K, which is dielectric constant, it is provided 80. This K and this K both are different. This is electrostatic force constant and this is dielectric constant. We know if we calculate force in air, if both the charges are placed in air or vacuum, you can say, if you calculate it, it comes 1.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 Newton. We have calculated it earlier. If you remember one relation we have calculated, F vacuum upon F medium. Here the medium is water. F vacuum we can write, or we can write F air. Things are similar. Here also you can put F vacuum if you want to write down, because we know dielectric constant of vacuum as well as air are quite similar. Dielectric constant of air is 1.00054, while the dielectric constant of vacuum is 1. Both are similar, so instead of air or you can put vacuum, both the things are same, is equals to K. So force in water is equals to force in vacuum divided by K. Remember, K is dielectric constant. Force in vacuum is 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 2 divided by 80. If you calculate it, what answer you will get? You will get 1.9 into 10 raised to the power minus 4 Newton. Check the answer yourself. Calculate it yourself. Clear? One more thing I want to explain you. Remember, if two spheres are connected by a metal wire, then the force of attraction maybe or repulsion would be 0, because according to the relation, force in medium is equals to force in vacuum divided by K, and we know the value of dielectric constant for metals, earlier I explained, infinite. So any value divided by infinite becomes 0. Remember, you may get a question in exam that two metal spheres are connected by a metal wire. What is the force of attraction or repulsion in between them? You can write down directly, it is 0. So this is what about the question number 2. Now we'll see question number 3, third numerical problem. And all the numerical problems are related to vector form of Coulomb's law. Third question is, it's very simple. Two identical spheres having the charges of opposite sign attract each other with a force of 0.108 Newton. Two identical charges. Question number 3. Two identical spheres. Two identical spheres having the charges Q1 and Q2 kept r distance apart, having the charges of opposite sign attract each other with a force of 0.108 Newton and distance between them is equals to 0.5 meter. This is Q1, this is minus Q2. Agree? Opposite sign. It is provided in the question that two identical spheres having the charges of opposite sign. It is not written that both are having same magnitude. They are having the charges of opposite sign and separated at 0.5 meter apart. Force of attraction between them is 0.108 Newton. If both are connected by a conducting wire and then the wire is removed, they repel each other with a force of 0.036 Newton. What is the initial charges? We want to find out the value of Q1 and Q2. So now we can apply the formula F is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. Clear? Put this value 0.108 is equals to K9 into 10 raised to the power 9 Q1 Q2 as usual divided by R square 0.5 into 0.5. So Q1 Q2 is equals to 0.108 into 0.5 divided by 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. You can do calculation yourself. If you calculate it, it comes 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. So value of Q1 Q2, product of Q1 Q2 comes 3 into 10 to the power minus 12. This is equation number 1. Now proceed for the next part, that if both the spheres are connected by a copper wire and thereafter they removed and they kept at the same distance apart. See, if you join these spheres by a copper wire, what happens? Charges will transfer from one sphere to another. We know one more thing, that the charge remains conserved. So what is the total charge before? Total charge of the system is equal to Q1 minus Q2. Remember, not Q1 plus Q2. Q total. Remember, it is minus Q2, so total charge is Q1 minus Q2. Now, if you separate both the spheres again, what is the new charges on them? Definitely, both are the identical ones. So, new charge becomes Q1 minus Q2 upon 2, Q1 minus Q2 upon 2, because the net charge should remain same after also according to the conservation of charge. This is Q1 dash new charge and this is Q2 dash. Distance between them remains same, it is 0.5 meter. So what is new force? F dash K Q1 dash Q2 dash divided by R square. It is provided in the question that the new force is 0.036 Newton, 0.036 equal to K 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. Q1 dash you can put Q1 minus Q2 by 2. Q2 dash you can put Q1 minus Q2 by 2 and upon R square 0.5 square. So now if you calculate it, it comes 0.036 is equals to 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 divided by 0.5 into 0.5 into 4 and into q1 minus q2 square. Just transfer the values to other side. q1 minus q2 square is equals to 0.036 into 0.5 into 0.5 into 4 divided by 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. So after calculation, what you will get, q1 minus q2 whole square is equals to, yes student, calculation you will check yourself. You will get this value 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 12, or you can write down q1 minus q2 is equals to 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 12 under the root. So it comes q1 minus q2 is equals to 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. This is equation number 2. Equation number 1, equation number 2. We will solve these two equations to find the answer, but remember there are two solutions for this answer. First is you can use mathematical identity, or you can do one thing, just put the value of q1 from this relation to this, you will get a quadratic equation. If you will use quadratic equation, you will find the answer. So now what we can do, we can use a mathematical relation. If you remember, q1 plus q2 whole square, we know it is equals to what? q1 square plus q2 square plus 2q1 q2. Agree? Now if we add plus 2q1 q2 and minus 2q1 q2, it will not change the relation. So what we can write down it? q1 plus q2 whole square is equals to q1 square plus q2 square minus 2q1 q2 plus 4q1 q2. This becomes q1 minus q2 whole square plus 4q1 q2. Now you can put the value of q1 minus q2 and q1 q2. So what you will get? q1 plus q2 whole square is equals to 2 into value of q1 minus q2 whole square is 4 into 10 to the power minus 12. 4 into 10 to the power minus 12 plus 4. q1 q2 is 3 into 10 to the power minus 12. You will get 4 into 10 to the power minus 12 plus 12 into 10 to the power minus 12. q1 plus q2 whole square is equals to 16 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. So now if you calculate the value of q1 plus q2, q1 plus q2 is equals to under the root 16 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. You will get 4 into 10 to the power minus 6. Now it is very easy for you because you have value of q1 minus q2 and q1 plus q2. So you can find out the value of q1 and q2. Here use these relations. These are simultaneous equations. q1 plus q2 is equals to 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 and q1 minus q2 is equals to 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. Add both the relations. This is 2. You can write down this is 3. This is 3. So 4 and 5. Add 4 and 5. What you will get if you will add them? If you add q1 q1 2q1 becomes cancel. 6 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. So q1 is equals to 6 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 divided by 2. 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 coulomb. Now if you put this value anywhere, you will get the answer of q2. Any relation you can use this relation. q1 minus q2 is equals to 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. So put the value of q1. q1 is 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 minus q2 is equals to 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. Just transfer this value to other side. 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 minus 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 is equals to q2, or you can write down q2 is equals to 1 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 coulomb, or you can write down it simply 10 raised to the power minus 6 coulomb. So this is the way through which we can find out the answer. Bit difficult numerical problem, but we can't leave it because in examination you may get any question. So one more time, see what we did. We have calculated the value of q1, q2. We have calculated the value of q1 minus q2. We have applied a mathematical identity, and then after applying mathematical identity we have calculated the value of q1 plus q2. And now after finding the value of q1 plus q2 and q1 minus q2, we have calculated the value of q1 and q2. So this is third numerical problem. Now we'll see the last numerical problem. Now we'll discuss question number 4. According to question number 4, two identical spheres having masses m each and charges q is suspended in diagram, are connected through a thread having the length l and making angle theta with respect to vertical. We want to prove that q square is equals to 4mg l square sin square theta tan theta 4 pi epsilon naught. So here we'll take component of t. One component is t cos theta, because if this angle is theta, this would be also theta. They are alternate interior angles. And other component of t is t sin theta. Now this t sin theta balances the electrostatic force acting between these two charges. So what first relation we can write down? We can write down that t sin theta is equal to Fe, where Fe is electrostatic force acting between these two charges. So t sin theta is equals to, the electrostatic force acting between these two charges is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q into q upon distance between both the charges is AB square. T sin theta is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q square upon AB square. Now see, we have to calculate the value of AB. We know that if we take the component of L, there are two components. One is L sin theta and other is L cos theta. So what is the value of AB? AB is equals to L sin theta plus L sin theta, 2L sin theta. Clear? So t sin theta is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q square upon 2L sin theta. 2L sin theta square, it becomes 1 upon 4 into 4 pi epsilon naught q square upon L square sin square theta t sin theta. Equation number 1. One more relation you can make, t cos theta balances mg. So t cos theta is equals to mg. Equation number 2. Now, if we divide equation number 1 by 2, what we will get? T will become cancelled with T, sin theta upon cos theta, tan theta, q square upon 4, and this mg becomes 4 mg. Okay, L square sin square theta. Finally, if you will cross multiply it, what you will get? 4 pi epsilon naught. So if you cross multiply it, what you will get? Q square is equals to 4 mg L square sin square theta tan theta 4 pi epsilon naught. Hence proved. So I hope you are getting. We have completed all 4 questions. We will discuss more questions based upon the topic later on. Thank you so much.